Go quickly and do not look back.
Yes, Mama. I will make you proud.
Good. Keep your documents safe.
"5 years. 5 years this girl had been saving, studying, praying for this scholarship. And for what? So my daughter could sleep tonight in a bed in London. Auntie, is it true? They really accepted me. Take this bag, my girl. Your flight is at 6. Don't wake Amara. She had worked 5 years to build this file." It took them one night to tear it away from her. But what those two women didn't know, the ones laughing quietly in the hallway before dawn, is that you cannot steal a destiny. You can only delay it. Disclaimer: all names of people and places are fictional. This is Amara's story. The first rooster hadn't even crowed when, in the compound of the Okafor house in Ajegunle, Amara was already up. It had always been this way. She folded her wrapper, poured a little water from the drum over her face, swept the compound before the neighbor's dog was even fully awake, lit the stove for the morning tea before anyone had opened an eye. She did all of this without a sound. That was what people noticed about Amara. A tall girl with warm brown skin, sharp cheekbones, and thick braided hair she kept neatly tied back. Not just what she did, but the way she did it, without waiting to be praised. Her mother had died in childbirth, leaving her alone with a father who loved her without knowing how to show it. When she was 7, her father had left to work in Kano on a contract for several months and never came back. An accident on the expressway. Uncle Emeka, her father's older brother, a broad-shouldered man with a quiet, tired way about him, the kind who preferred silence to argument, had taken her in. When he remarried Nkechi, a widow from Enugu with a daughter of her own, he told himself he was giving Amara a mother. What he gave her, without realizing it, was a lesson in survival. Nkechi wasn't the type to strike. She was cleverer than that. She had a smooth, handsome face that softened whenever people were watching, and she used carefully chosen words, delivered quietly, always deniable. One morning, Amara had just finished scrubbing the parlor tiles when Nkechi walked in, looked at the floor, and sighed. "Amara, you left the corners again? I'll do it again right away." "Auntie, your mates are learning useful things, building something. You scrub the floor like a house help." "Yes, Auntie. I don't know what future awaits a girl like you. I'm only saying." She never stayed to hear the answer. That was her method. Throw the stone, leave before the ripples. Chiamaka, Nkechi's daughter, was something else entirely. Pretty in a way that excused a lot. Round-faced, light-skinned, always in the latest weave, the kind of person who fills a room just by walking into it. She borrowed Amara's clothes and forgot to return them. She'd started a makeup course, then a computer course, and abandoned both. She had a boyfriend in Ibadan who sent her credit alerts that she spent before the notification even faded from her screen. They shared the same room. At night, Chiamaka talked about London, Canada, anywhere that wasn't Nigeria. "Amara, I'm telling you, I have to leave this country. Seriously." You're not even listening to me. UK, Canada, anywhere but here. And you have nothing to say to that? Work for it. Work for it. That's all you know how to say. As if life is only about work. I hear you, Chiamaka. You and your serious head. Amara would close her notebook, switch off her torchlight, and lie down. In her mind, a plan was already forming. Quietly, the way everything she did was quiet. Amara had started sewing at 14, on the old machine her mother had left behind. First alterations for the neighbors, then outfits for christenings, then orders for the neighborhood weddings. She kept her money in a brown envelope, hidden in an old box her father had left her. Not to hide it, but because it was the only place in that house where something that belonged to her truly stayed hers. She'd taken a business management class at a vocational center on Saturday mornings. She'd learned to keep accounts, calculate a margin, write an invoice. She told no one. She simply did it before dawn, between orders, after the dishes. The neighborhood had noticed. That was the part Nkechi couldn't control. One afternoon, Auntie Uche had stopped her at the corner tap. Amara, how is the work going? It's going, Auntie. Slowly, but it's going. I was just telling my husband yesterday how well you carry yourself. Serious, hardworking. Your mother trained you well before God called her home. God is watching you, my girl. Keep it up. These things always reached Nkechi's ears, and every compliment the neighborhood gave Amara fell into her heart like a quiet insult, because the child being praised wasn't hers. That evening at the table, Uncle Emeka mentioned that the pastor had spoken well of Amara at church. He said it the way men say good news, without understanding what it cost the women listening. Seems the girl has a good character. People are talking about her. Silence settled over the table. Nkechi smiled, the smile she kept for public moments. Amara tries. Yes, nothing more. Not, we're proud of her. Not, she's doing well. Just enough to seem gracious, and not a word more. Amara ate without saying anything. A father who avoids conflict doesn't keep the peace. He only delays the war. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. It was a contact of a fabric supplier at Yaba Market who first told her about an excellent scholarship program for young entrepreneurs. A partnership between a Nigerian business chamber and a fashion school in London, with paid internships and possibilities to settle. Amara had followed every step, every file, every local interview, every document, bank statements, cover letter, portfolio of her designs, photos of her satisfied clients. It took her 5 years to build that file. 5 years of saving, of forms she didn't always understand and filled out again and again, of visits to the chamber's office so frequent the receptionist knew her name without needing to ask. When the acceptance letter arrived, she read it 4 times before allowing herself to cry. She made the mistake of bringing it home, not out of carelessness, because despite everything, Uncle Emeka's house remained her family, and she still believed, after all she'd endured, that good news belonged to family. She showed the letter to her uncle first. Uncle, my scholarship came through. The program in London, I got in. Amara, that's a good thing, a very good thing. 5 years, uncle, 5 years I've worked for this. Your mother would have been proud of you. She held his words against her heart. Nkechi appeared in the doorway. She had been listening. What's going on? What letter is this? Amara's scholarship came through. She's traveling. Oh, really? Congratulations, Amara. Amara should have noticed the smile didn't reach the eyes. She was too happy to notice. That night, she kept the envelope under her pillow. By morning, it had vanished. She checked under the mattress, shook out every fold of her wrapper, searched the room 3 times, her hand trembling before the truth arrived, quiet and complete. Chamaka's side of the room was empty. Chamaka's bag was gone. Amara ran to her uncle's room, ran to the gate, ran to Nkechi, sitting calmly in the parlor, a quiet cup of tea between her hands, utterly unshaken. Where is Chamaka? Where are my documents? Lower your voice in this house. My envelope is gone. My scholarship, everything I worked for, is gone. Chiamaka traveled, that's all I know. Traveled without a word, traveled with my documents. You did this. You gave her my place. You! Watch your mouth. You are in your uncle's house, not the market. Uncle! Uncle! Come and see what has happened. Uncle Emeka appeared, and she told him everything. The missing envelope, the empty room, Chiamaka's disappearance. He turned to Nkechi. Do you know anything about this? Me? How would I know? I know that girl has been jealous of my daughter forever. Chiamaka had her own opportunity and she left. Why must everything always be about Amara? Are you sure the documents were there last night? Uncle, I kept it under my pillow. I am certain. Or maybe you misplaced it and want to blame my daughter for your own carelessness. Uncle Emeka said nothing more. That silence was its own answer. The street heard everything. Streets always hear everything. By afternoon, the story had already changed shape in the neighbors' mouths. By evening, it had traveled to the next compound. Old Baba Sunday shook his head near the gate, speaking low to his wife. That Amara, she should have kept her business to herself. You don't bring a scholarship into a house full of jealous people. Auntie Uche came and sat beside her that evening in the compound. I believe you, my girl. Do you hear me? I believe you. No one will do anything, Auntie. There is nothing to be done today. But God never sleeps, my girl. I built this for 5 years. 5 years. I know. They sat together in the fading light. The compound kept living around her as if nothing had happened. The smell of cooking, a child running by, a radio somewhere. Nkechi passed through the compound without looking at her. If you're still watching up to now, type I'm still here in the comment section. That night, Amara sat alone outside, her hands empty. No sewing, no notebook, no plan, just the immense, silent weight of a stolen future in the dark. She could have screamed, could have smashed everything, could have gone to the elders on the street, to anyone willing to listen. But she already knew how that would end. She'd seen how the street looked at her that day, with a pity that quickly turned into distance. No one wants to stand close to a girl the world seems to be punishing. So she sat, and she made herself a quiet promise. This will not be the end of my story. She didn't say it loudly. She told no one. She told herself, in the dark. That's how promises that actually hold are made. The next day, she would start again from nothing. No one applauds a person starting from zero. That's the part no one ever tells you. They talk to you about resilience, rebirth, the fire that makes gold stronger. But they don't tell you what it feels like to walk through a market where people once greeted you with both hands, and now watch them look away instead. Amara knew that feeling now. The day she packed a small bag and left the Okafor house, no one stopped her. Her uncle stood in the doorway with the look of a man who knew he had failed but couldn't find the words to say so. Nkechi watched from the window. Amara didn't look back. She rented a single room in a Face Me I Face You house in Surulere. One window, a roof that complained when it rained, and a landlady named Mama Nekiru, a woman who had seen enough of life to mind her own business. She had a little money left, not much, enough to buy time, not comfort. She started with what her hands already knew how to do. She found work in a tailoring shop at Balogun Market, not as the designer she was becoming, but as an apprentice, the one who cuts thread, sweeps the floor, hands pins to the woman who owns the machines. Her first week, she earned just enough for a bag of rice and 3 days' transport. The second week, the shop's owner, a solidly built woman named Mama Chioma, watched her work and moved her from the floor to the table. "You've done this before?" Mama Chioma said, without looking up from her machine. "A little, ma, a little." "That's not what I see. Sit down, show me what you can do with this fabric." Mama Chioma watched without a word. When it was done, she held the piece up to the light, turned it slowly. "Who taught you this?" "I taught myself, ma, by watching, by practicing." "You have good hands. I'll teach you the rest." That was the first door. The mockery came from where she least expected it. Not strangers, but neighbors. Women who had praised her at the tap, who had called her serious girl, who had said, "God is watching you." Those same mouths now carried different words. She heard them at the market one afternoon. She hadn't gone looking for it. She was bargaining over thread when 2 women from the old street passed behind her, voices low, but not low enough. "Have you seen Amara, the one who talked about big scholarships, London, business? Look at her now, buying thread. If you don't know how to keep your things safe, life will teach you." She should have been more careful. "They say she accused Nkechi's daughter. Chai, jealousy doesn't leave some people alone." Amara kept her eyes on the thread. She asked the price, she paid, she left. She took the longest way home so no one would see her face before she'd put it back in order. Meanwhile, in London, Chiamaka was discovering something no one had warned her about. An opportunity without the preparation to match is a heavy burden to carry. She had arrived with Amara's documents, Amara's name on the program, and none of Amara's discipline. The program's structure, schedules, reports due, required internships, felt like a punishment to Chiamaka. She started skipping classes. She found people for whom skipping felt like freedom. The money given for expenses went toward things that had nothing to do with expenses. Within 4 months, she was quietly dismissed from the program. She didn't call to say so. She told her mother everything was fine. She found a room with 3 other Nigerian girls and began surviving the way people survive once they've burned the structure meant to carry them, one hard day at a time, with nothing pushing underneath. But that story was happening in London. Amara didn't know it. She had no time to wonder. She was too busy building. Mama Chioma taught her pattern making, taught her to read a body's measurements the way some people read faces, fast and with precision. She learned which fabrics move and which resist. She learned to make something out of almost nothing and make it look intentional. After 8 months, Mama Chioma called her in one morning before the shop opened. A big client. She wants outfits for her daughter's wedding, 12 pieces, all the women in the family. She asked for me. I want to hand it to you. I'll supervise, but you'll be in charge. Can you handle it? Yes, Ma, I can handle it. Don't let your hands lie to me. This is the most intense part of Amara's journey, and if her story is touching you, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Her hands didn't lie. The 12 pieces were delivered on time, perfectly fitted, and the client photographed every one. She posted the photos, tagged the shop, told her friends. By the end of that week, 3 new clients showed up at Mama Chioma's door, asking for the girl who'd sewn the wedding outfits. They didn't ask for Mama Chioma. They asked for Amara. She didn't celebrate loudly. She went back to her small room in Surulere, sat on the edge of her bed, and allowed herself one quiet moment of something that felt like proof. It's working. Then she picked up her notebook and planned the next day. 5 years is a long time, long enough for a street to forget what it said about you, long enough for the women who whispered at the market to need something from you, long enough for a name once spoken with pity to now carry an entirely different weight. Amara's workshop was now in Victoria Island. A real workshop, not a table, not a corner borrowed from someone else's space. Her name was on the sign in bold black letters. Amara Okafor Couture. She had 4 seamstresses working under her, a beautiful, striking woman known now for both her talent and her calm confidence. She had a waiting list. She had suppliers calling her, instead of the other way around. She had built it all the same way she'd always built everything, quietly, entirely, without asking anyone's permission. Mama Chioma came to the workshop's opening. She sat in the front row of plastic chairs, ate the puff-puff, and watched the whole afternoon with the calm of someone who'd known this day was coming long before anyone else did. You remember what I told you the first day? Don't let your hands lie to me. Your hands never lied, not once. I'm proud of you, my girl. You're the one who gave me my first chance, Ma. I'll never forget it. Go and greet your guests. This day belongs to you. And it truly did. For the first time in a long time, something belonged to her, entirely. Chiamaka came back on a Tuesday, without warning, without a call ahead. Just a taxi that pulled up in front of the old Okafor house. One bag, and a face that had aged in a way that had nothing to do with years. Abroad had not been kind. When the program ended and the structure collapsed, Chiamaka spent 2 more years trying to hold on in a country that had no particular interest in the idea. She took small jobs. She changed rooms 3 times. She borrowed money she couldn't repay, and then a routine administrative check finally uncovered what no one had bothered to hide well enough: a file under someone else's name, an identity that didn't match her fingerprints, document fraud 5 years old. She was placed in a detention center, then deported. She carried the quiet shame of someone living a life that was never made for her, a shame she dragged along every day until it grew too heavy to carry any other way. She came home with empty hands, and she knew it. Nkechi had aged too. The house somehow seemed smaller. Uncle Emeka walked more slowly now. His knees gave him trouble. His television stayed on every evening, but his eyes didn't always watch it. Within a week, the money problems became obvious. The house had been running on very little for a long time. Nkechi carried debts she managed with pride and silence. And now, with Chiamaka back and nothing coming in, the silence was becoming hard to maintain. It was Nkechi who made the decision. It would cost her more than it should have. They came on a Saturday. The morning was still young, and Amara was at the workshop reviewing fabric orders with one of her seamstresses. When she heard knocking, she looked up. Nkechi stood at the workshop door. Chiamaka stood slightly behind her, smaller than Amara remembered, eyes down, hands clasped in front of her, like someone. If this story has touched you, please subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear that a stolen destiny is only ever delayed, never taken. See you in the next story.